were some of your influences when making this movie?
Yeah, for instance, two I could tell like Werner Herzog. You know, like, you know, nature is like around immortality within the whole film, and say Alejandro Jodorowsky too. You know, like you can have like some certain elements. You know, I don't do it like that, like to shock you. You know, I just play certain elements, kind of like arouse your imagination, or David Lynch. You know, something like. You know, certain elements that
You're going in the right direction, yes.
Let you know that something kind of like beyond that daily life or within the daily life, certain elements that can like stimulate imagination.
Let me ask you a question about sound design. And I'll pick out one scene. When they're walking to the grave with the wind and all that, how do you assemble the sound for something like that? Because there's very little music in this film and very little dialogue.
Well, in that particular scene, there was something that I've been working with, which I tell people that the two hardest things for sound in this movie were trying to figure out what hell sounded like and what a UFO sounded like. and the UFO thing, I kind of got off on the shot where she's like looking down and there are all these tires down there, and I kept thinking, tires, yeah, tires. There's a whole thing about tires. So I came up with this sound that kind of sounds like tires, like a highway where the tires are going by. And that's kind of where I took off in that particular scene, because there's a whole thing where there are off-screen cars. You never actually see them, but you hear them go by, and somehow they kind of transform into this thing where he's sleeping, and it's kind of a foretells the UFO thing. So I don't know, I hope that answers your question.
And it's also the constant hums. I mean, what's great about this film is you feel the heat. You hear the heat. There's always the hum of something going on in the background. When he goes to the bathroom, you hear that wonderful muffled sound of the music outside being drowned out by the air conditioner in the bathroom. That's really impressive work. So do you two sit together in the editing suite? And has there ever been, give me a moment in this film where you turned to him and said, no, we've got to do it this way. And
no sound, really, because I think that we would sit in the editing room a lot and talk about things, but then he would take it and do the sound, and it would always be like a surprise. He'd come bring it to us, and we'd listen to it and be like, oh, yeah. Wow. You know, it's like these treats would come out. We'd have an idea what he was going to do, but I don't think...
And actually, in many ways, this is a very uncommon situation, because I would come up with an idea for her, and certain times she would actually change picture in order to...
Yeah, like...
You might not know that.
No, I knew, like, for instance, when Ed adds some sound, then Lorraine will say...
We sometimes had to open it up just to let the sound really sit, like when he
pacing,
goes and turns the air conditioner on again, and you see him turn the light on, you hear the air conditioner go on. Without the sound in there, that shot went on interminably, and then he put the sound on it, and he said, extend it a few more seconds. So, what? So we did extend it, and it just absorbed it, carried it.
I also love the mouthwash. I wish you would have played that gag for a minute and a half, where he's just swishing that around in his mouth. He walks down into the frame, comes back out. That's a terrific gag.
It was that way originally, but a mistake was made.
But it was like a little louder even.
It was very loud.
Yeah.
We won't go into that story. I heard that earlier. Does anyone have questions?
Una pregunta. ¿Sí?
You want to sum that up in English?
Yeah, in English, her question was, what was the social issues that I wanted to touch base in the movie? And my answer is that I wanted to talk about Mexicali, because I'm from it. And whenever you know somebody from Mexicali, you know they tell you about the heat, and that's about the whole heat stroke theme, and how you have to turn off your AC all the time, and then the electricity rate, the bill goes really high. So that's a whole issue from people who live in Mexicali, and kind of like there's no villain in the film, but I want to see have the heat to be like this power over, and we had to learn to survive with it. Yeah.
There are no villains in the film, but none of these characters are necessarily likable. And that's kind of hard. It's very, very hard to make a movie about characters that are questionable that you don't like. Hitchcock did it all the time, but I think you succeed very, very well. You sympathize with them, but then they'll do things that it's like, wow, that's awful. How can you even think of doing that to another human being? When she says, aren't you ever afraid you're going to find one of your relatives?
Yeah.
No, he's more afraid he's going to find a girl that he beat up the night before. That's what scares the hell out of him. That's a great, and what's the line? I'm doing what I like with someone else. Oh, I
No,
wrote it.
tell me, if I can remember.
No. It's my lunch order. What I like doing with you, I'm now doing with someone else. That's
yeah.
I mean, that's right out of a Robert Mitchum film noir. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a terrific line of dialogue.
You know, sometimes reality, say surprise a fiction, you know?
Right.
Because, and yeah, somebody said that to a friend, I'm like, you know, those things stay in your head.
Oh, you can't get, with a line of dialogue like that, you're never going to lose it. The only way you're going to get rid of it is on the screen.
Exactly.
So,
Now
yes.
it goes over there.
Yes, ma'am.
The writing?
How long did it take you to write it, and did you have any specific scenes that you started with? Am I close? Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to sum it up because it's interesting how this came out. There is this theater play that I wanted to do, like these 2 pages, say, from theater, about a guy who beat a girl and then he finds it later on. I wanted to do it as a short. It never came out like for years, and then I started writing this film I wanted to do about my hometown in Mexicali and about the heat and all those things. Okay, there are certain locations that I like already, like new in the valley and all that. So I wrote, then I choose, okay, about the dead and how the job of this guy would allow me to move around to go to these interesting places that I wanted to explore, say. Okay, so I wrote everything regarding his job. Then they lead me to the girl, to the character of Rosa. Then I wrote, say, their relationship from beginning to the very end. And then I wanted to do something with animals, and this like when Helmi came in. So I started writing the same thing, you know, everything, the relationship and all those things with Helmi. And then when I rewrote it, I kind of like see like the common points, and then I start like, you know, shaping it. The first draft only took me a month, but it was because I was at this challenge on the internet. It was this write a script in a month, and I'm like, okay, so you know, let's try to do it. I did it like that. I wrote it, but like it was mostly like write 100 pages in a month. You know, I wrote it like that, and then I rewrites maybe like another 5 months. You know, but it was like every day, not like skipping days, nothing like that. Like really discipline, and that's it. And then obviously when you shoot it and edit it, that's another process of shaping it until it's right.
All right, forgive my naivete.
Yeah.
What is that device he finds in his brother's bedroom?
It's an electroshock box.
Oh, gee, I wonder why I didn't know what that was. Oh, yeah.
No,
I just happen to have one in my glove compartment.
No.
What is that?
In Mexico, you know, when you go to a bar, I don't know if you've seen, I don't know, or you go to a bar and there's somebody saying toques, you know, like they want to, like, you pay for it, like $5, and then you grab hands with your friends, and you have this, it has inside some batteries, and you just electrocute yourself, and it's like more like a playful thing.
Oh.
So
And you
It's a
pay for
macho
that.
thing,
It's a
to see
macho
who can
thing.
hold
Right.
onto it longer.
I lose. Okay.
But say in this case he feels guilt because he thinks he killed that woman, and it's kind of like he's trying to be you know, try to have the pain, feel the pain in a more physical way, not emotionally only.
It wasn't enough that he cleaned his house and took back his empties?
Remember he did it after that.
Oh, okay. Any more? Yes, sir.
Well, the question was about how was the involvement from the university, from the film, from the University of Baja California, and I told them that they have 4 years ago they opened up their audiovisual media career, and then I have students be part of the crew who were shooting, and we recorded music on their studios, and part of the faculty were like the musicians who played or composed the film, the music, the score. they are a friend of mine from a long time ago, and well, it kind of like everything came together for this point in order to make this movie.
How long did it take you to shoot, and how much did it cost to make?
Okay, we shot it in principal photography. It was 3 weeks, and then we came back like for another week after we kind of have an ensemble of the whole movie. Kind of like, we only shot for story, so now we wanted to like certain things regarding the city and all that, like kind of like reshoot, and the budget. Well, it kind of like being summing up because it's like an independent film. So we started like with 20,000, and then it went up to 30, and then I see how awesome money to some people, you know. So you kind of go 50 or a little more.
That's it?
Yeah.
This looks a hell of a lot more expensive than $50,000.
Yeah, well, I have professionals working with me, like Ed and Lorraine, and actually, because I've been around in festivals and I've been talking to other filmmakers, even from Mexico, and it costs for a Mexican film like at least like a very independent 10 times more than that.
Give your DP a plug too, because this thing is beautifully photographed.
Thank you. Yeah. Evan, a friend of mine from Pasadena, so it was great. Yeah.
Just beautiful to look at.
Thank you. One of the things that we shot after, we shot the whole film like story-wise, and I felt like I needed more images of the heat, you know, in Mexico, in Mexicali, and I wanted to have one image that captured kind of like the whole film, what it's about, and I came out with that, and well, it worked, apparently.
I love the image when it's...
Gracias, ya, es un proceso creativo, so a veces es como, nada más se te ocurren las cosas y las vas haciendo, ¿no? Y ya después como que empiezan a tener un significado. It's a creative process, so sometimes you just come up with an idea, you shoot it, you make it, and then later on kind of like start having like a meaning, but sometimes it's all creative.
I think my favorite shot, which I bet you was on the fly, it's 104 degrees and you have a man in the middle of the street eating fire. I mean, that just says so much. Was this guy just like a regular that you found?
No, actually we weren't looking for one. Yeah, I found it, but yeah.
You were looking for a fire eater?
Yeah.
So you had that image in your head, excuse me,
Yeah,
before?
exactly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You had that image in your head before you went out and filmed it. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking for images of the heat, you know, even when it's at night, you see like it's very hot still, but we needed like something like that to also keep the imagery going. Yeah.
So what's it going to take to get this out of the festival circuit and into movie theaters?
Yeah, well, now we have a distributor in Mexico, and I think, well, we're gonna show it there in Mexico, and at least for the U.S. we have secured like DVD and those things, but for theaters I don't know yet, but.
It looks so much better. They all look better on the screen,
Yeah.
but I mean, I had to watch this off a computer, you know, on a 13-inch screen,
Yeah.
and seeing it writ large, it's really a very handsome film. And things you're not going to get on television. What does it say in his T-shirt? No, not yours. The one about Bored to Death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bored to
that's,
Death.
I didn't notice that on my computer.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Otra pregunta.
Thank you all for coming.
Well,